So the president usually will respond to at least one reporter, or at least look like he's going to come back today. That was not going to happen. I imagine that they wanted this statement to be nice and tight before the markets open at just about 25 minutes from now.
We were debating earlier today whether or not it would take questions. I think better safe than sorry at this point.
I would even have recommended not taking them
Futures are
today.
down 250. Here's some of the headlines now. Charles Payne's waiting in the wings here. Reduce the risk of this happening again. Charles, you can explain that. All the managers are fired. Wow. I did not hear that over the weekend. No taxpayer dollars will be used. All the money comes from fees. I don't know how you manage that, but that's what he said. And all customers who have deposits in Silicon Valley and signature banks will have access to the money. So that's the news. What do you think?
Where do we begin? First and foremost, for me, this was a bailout of Silicon Valley. Not Silicon Valley Bank, of Silicon Valley. And everyone needs to be clear on that. This was not a bailout of hard-working Americans and small accounts. This was a bank that only catered, for the most part, to Silicon Valley and their customers. So how did Silicon Valley get so big? All of the money that cascaded into our economy at the beginning of the pandemic helped to spur that big IPO and SPAC streak, if you guys remember. We had over 1,000 IPOs, 59% of offerings, 59% were SPACs. 90% of them were pure crap. The others all went out overvalued. Everyone who bought them at the IPO price, every American is losing money right now, even before this crisis. In the meantime, though, all of that money went to Silicon Valley Bank. Their deposits went up 300% to $200 billion. The average bank over that same time frame, their deposits went up 35%. So they're living large, they're having a great time. What do they do with the money? They don't lend it out. They don't lend it out. By the way, who the hell needs a loan in Silicon Valley? They don't lend it out. So they put it into different things, and they start investing with it. Then things look a little dicey, so they say, okay, well, let's buy these bonds. Now, this is a real tricky part. This is why I think the overall market's getting hammered a little bit this morning. When banks put these bonds, there's two ways you can put bonds on your books. One is held to maturity. If you do that, you don't have to mark the ups and downs of the bond market. Right. You don't have to mark that on your balance sheet. The ones that are for sale, you do, and you have to actively manage those. But the bulk of these bonds that they had were held to maturity. So the fact of the matter is the bond market took one of the worst drubbings it's ever had in the last year. The value, the value of their bonds, their core asset, started to go down. Other things that happened: commercial-backed, mortgage-backed securities. They own a bunch of those. Those are getting decimated in part from work from home. But this was an irresponsible, reckless bank. But let's be clear. The American public must know. Every account in this country is insured to $250,000. Every single account. This was not about bailing out small accounts, regular Americans. The mean bank account in this country is $41,000. You want to go by, so if you look at, for instance, the average bank account for someone without a high school diploma, $9,000. Bachelor's degree, $79,000. This is another bailout of the elites. This is a bailout of Silicon Valley, the same Silicon Valley that just brought us Sam Bankman-Fried. The Silicon Valley that for 20 years grew companies privately to exorbitant valuations, outrageous valuations, and then foisted them on the public at even higher valuations. They have made so much money. I mean, only the Saudi Arabian princes can deal with the amount of money that they've made. Who do you think bids against each other for the world's biggest yacht? Who bought the Maltese Falcon? I mean, this is what I'm talking about. So.
Can I ask you something, though? So later in the show, we're going to talk to a woman who has a small business. She's 32 years old. She has 3 children. She runs a small business for Etsy. Over the weekend, they get emails from Etsy saying, we're not sure we're going to be able to pay you on Monday. So I totally hear you on all the other things. But there are some people who are saying, why am I at risk? I'm a small business owner. She got laid off during COVID. She figured out a way to pull herself up. She's a successful business, but she is afraid. Now maybe everything's going to be okay, but they were told on Friday we might not be able to pay you Monday.
Well, here's the thing: if I do business with someone and they can't pay me like as a conduit, Etsy's a conduit. You go on there and they just connect the buyer and seller. For some reason that money is held up because of something else, that's a red flag. I'm getting out of Etsy. I don't want to do business with them anymore. Period. But again, we keep hijacking those small stories to protect the people that keep wrecking our economy. Okay. That keep getting all the big, I'm talking massive, billions of dollars, billions of dollars. So here's the thing. during that hot IPO spree, the number 2 IPO in 2021 was Roblox. I own the stock right now. I own some of this, and I'm doing pretty good. Well, we'll see what happens today. but the point is, Roblox raised $30 billion. $30 billion. Their exposure now to Silicon Valley Bank is like 26% of that.
Yep.
We're bailing out Roblox that raised $30 billion at a valuation that was probably 5 times what it was really, truly, honestly worth. So a lot of single moms with kids bought that stock thinking they could make money, and they got waxed. They're getting crushed. So I'm just saying, there's going to be these stories, but we got to find out a way to help someone like that. And by the way, again, this is the point I was getting to. Anybody with less than $250,000 is going to get paid from the bank. Everyone. This is not a bailout of anybody with $250,000.
90% of the deposits at Silicon Valley Bank were higher than
so someone's got $3 million in the bank, and now we got to bail them out. Then where do we start? Does that mean
it's a fair point. We didn't talk about signatures New York, Connecticut, North Carolina, Nevada, and California. So they may have had some of that Silicon Valley exposure as well. Do you believe this is on the banks themselves, or is this on the regulators that were intended to prevent another catastrophe in 2008?
I think there's a lot of, I don't think there's one single entity. Listen, I think the Federal Reserve deserves some credit. They wanted to break something. Well, they broke something. And I don't think
because interest rates have gone
Because again,
up 5 points in a year's time?
Because these assets, these bonds, these long duration bonds, because the bond market took such a hit last year. It's so interesting because when you talk in Wall Street or in the investing world, when they say the term risk-free, they mean buying bonds.
Yeah.
You always hear that. Risk-free. Well, obviously there was some risk here because this was a major part of the dominoes. We can go further back. You know what? If there wasn't all this free money, I go back to the free money. If all this free money didn't cascade into this economy and spark this inflation crisis that has forced Jay Powell to come to the rescue, so to speak, we wouldn't be in this position in the first place. These are all the consequences of things like that. And when you hear President Biden brag about these things, the sugar high is wearing off, and this is the ugly stuff that's left of that.
Is there more ugly to come?
There could be. This is the stock market. Here's what's scaring me this morning. Really red, yellow flags. Bond yields have been coming down hard. They have been crashing. And the stock market is coming down at the same time. That is a signal of fear. That is a flashing red sign of fear. We don't know all the answers. Okay. So the best thing to do right now in terms of the markets is just, hey, they're going to a place where you say maybe the market is going haywire because no one has the answers right now.
No one has direction.
It should not have been a contagion event. It is not a contagion event. This is a different kind of bank. It could have gone kaput by itself. People with $250,000 could have been paid. And these small businesses, by the way, could have gone back to their VCs, back to the venture capitalists and say, hey, help us out, help us raise some more money. Etsy could go back to their venture capitalists and say, we need to raise some more cash. Instead, this is the route they've taken, and it's a dangerous route. And unfortunately, it's scooping at all Americans.
Yep.
It's early in the day. We'll see where we are.
I don't need coffee this morning, my man.
Who's worried about that spring forward now? All right, great to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.